Today on University Report, Kias and Hyundais continue to be the target of auto thefts nationwide. We caught up with local victims who showed us what happened to their vehicles. Plus, there may be someone in there you know. Goldie Gopher held tryouts earlier this week, naming in secrecy those who will become the faces behind the mask. And Minnesota drivers are dealing with bumpy roads after this winter.
Pretty bad. There's potholes in legit every area, wherever you look, so.
Coming up, an answer to why so many potholes were left behind. You're watching University Report. Good morning. Thanks for watching University Report. I'm Connor O'Neill.
And I'm Sarah Morris. On Monday, Joan Gable, the president of the University of Minnesota, announced that she will be leaving her role just 4 years after her appointment. She's accepted a job as the chancellor of the University of Pittsburgh. In a statement, Gable said, "Serving as your president has been the greatest honor of my career, and it has been especially humbling to together navigate one of the most impactful and consequential chapters in the university's 170-year history." She references the COVID-19 pandemic and the social justice movement.
This announcement comes just months after Gable faced criticism for a possible conflict of interest. She had accepted a paid position for the Security and Financial Board of Directors. She resigned from that board in January. Gable's new job will pay about $300,000 a year more than she's making here. She leaves Minnesota in July. Last year, the Twin Cities saw a significant spike in auto thefts. Many of those involved Kias and Hyundais. There are more than 8 times as many of them stolen as there had been the year before. Madison Morandi explains that even though those have newer or updated Kia and Hyundais that can be stolen, they're still at risk.
Following last year's TikTok trend showing how to steal Kia and Hyundai cars with USB, car thefts have gotten more common, and owners have noticed.
My car was just gone.
Ben Johnson was a Hyundai owner.
And I was planning on doing Uber Eats driving, which is what I, do now. But, when you lose a car, it doesn't really work.
Now, Ben had his car parked right here on this street behind his apartment. One morning he says he came out and it was gone.
Like, my brother has a Kia and he got his stolen as well. Like, a couple weeks after I got mine stolen.
Johnson's car was found by Minneapolis police after it had been towed. It was badly damaged, and Johnson has since bought a new car, which is not a Kia or Hyundai. My sister, Megan Morandi, has had her 2023 Hyundai broken into twice.
Very frustrating.
She purchased it just last October. Since then, she has gotten a wheel lock for her car and has switched cars with her boyfriend since he has a garage.
Newer ones, they've changed a lot, so you can't steal it the way that people are trying to do with a USB. But the problem is that these people that are trying to steal it they don't know it's a newer one, so they still try to steal it. There should be certain lawsuits for this type of thing, lawsuits for newer cars as well as older ones, because currently there's none that I've found that apply because I have a newer car.
Johnson is also considering joining lawsuits. In February, Kia and Hyundai announced a free software update for vehicle owners that increases the amount of time the alarm goes off and prevents their cars from being started with a USB.
I wish I would have known about this when I purchased my car. I definitely didn't.
University police recommend installing a tracking device in your car or purchasing a wheel lock. Madison Morandi, University Report.
In March, Attorney General Keith Ellison launched an investigation into Kia and Hyundai, which could end up leading to a lawsuit. After a cold, wet, and unpopular spring jam last year, students are hoping to see a chance to the event this year. Andrew Becker's joining us live from campus with an update on Spring Jam 2023. Hey, Andrew, what can we expect this year?
Connor, we can expect a lot from here on the University of Minnesota campus as the weather continues to get warmer. Hopefully, a good sign for the university's upcoming spring festival.
Another typical April day in Lot 37. Cars scattered all over. A coldness echoes as Minnesota battles between winter and spring. Yet not every day this month will be the same routine.
April 22nd will be far from your typical day here, as Lot 37 will be the host of Minnesota's annual spring festival, Spring Jam.
This year's edition will look to make a huge impact after a disappointing 2022 showing.
Don't think I could name like one person that I know personally that went to Spring Jam last year.
Owen Stevenson says a disappointing lineup for the first Spring Jam since the pandemic convinced him not to go last year. The announcement of last year's lineup was met with mixed reaction through social media platforms such as Instagram. The official post from the Student Unions and Activities page had numerous comments taking shots at the proposed lineup. One of the most highly liked comments bluntly asked, "Is this a joke?" A post on the Barstool Gophers account with the lineup even saw Gopher alum and NFL player Antoine Winfield Jr. throw shade. SUA, which didn't respond to a request for a comment, hopes that opinions will change with the lineup that was announced for this year's festival. The acts announced so far for this year's event aren't exactly your typical headliners. Eam Triplin, Kaylee Morg, and Minnesota's own Dury.
Have you seen the lineup at all for this year's Spring Jam?
No. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea who any of these people are.
Stevenson, a lifelong music fan, is considering attending this year's festivities.
If I talk to more friends and have people that are more interested in going and like know people that are going, I would definitely consider it.
Music won't be the only feature at Spring Jam. There will also be rides, food, and a beer garden.
I feel like it hasn't been a big deal to students in the last few years, so it hasn't been like a huge part of my college experience, so I don't really have much more to say.
The event will take place between 3:30 and 10:30 p.m. on the 22nd. It's free for U of M students and $15 for everyone else. And by the way, if you're not a student and still looking to attend the party of the season, you must be at least 18 years old.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it very much. Still ahead, Goldie Gopher tryouts caused some students to act a bit strange, but for good reason. And
it may be sunny now, but Mother Nature had an April Fool's blizzard for us last weekend. I'll give you a closer look on how this affected events on campus.
Because it was there. Because determination overcame distance.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
Because the unsolvable was invitation enough. Why are we driven to discover? Because we can change the course of history. Because tomorrow's visionaries need focus today. At the University of Minnesota, with each student comes an opportunity to set their sights higher and to show them the way, so our graduates can shape the future and fulfill the dreams they haven't yet dreamt. Because renewable energy can sustain us all. Our students envision the sun powering homes on every block, wind-blown ideas launching entirely new economies, and fertile soils fueling cars and people alike, protecting the harmony between humanity and nature. Because self-expression can move 1,000 souls. Be it a song or a dance, a canvas or a poem, the arts are vital to the U of M experience, as are self-discovery and moments of sheer amazement. Because cancer can be conquered by targeting medicines, customizing treatments, and transplanting stem cells, incurable cancers can become survivable. Terminal can be redefined as treatable, and optimism can spread once again. Because human rights need champions. From classrooms in Minnesota to courtrooms in Uganda, assembling a collective voice for change allows dignity to return and extends human rights across the globe. Because clean water ensures quality of life. It's essential to the health of all nations, so we're studying models and molecules We are committed to making clean water flow freely, from the headwaters of the Mississippi to the slums of Mumbai. We share the belief that anything is possible, because at the University of Minnesota, discoveries unfold, breakthroughs happen, and history is forever changed.
This past weekend, Minnesotans were hit with a wide range of weather events, including thunderstorms, hail, and snow. Marissa Mazzetta has more on how this wild weather affected events around the U of M campus.
Mother Nature played an April Fool's joke last weekend, hitting the Twin Cities with over 8 inches of snow overnight. While some events around the area were canceled, others went on in true Minnesotan fashion. But they did run into their fair share of issues. The Midwest Journalism Conference at the Graduate Hotel last weekend brought in students and journalists from various states around the region. Many of the out-of-staters joked on Friday that they were hoping to not get snowed in. Come Saturday morning, it wasn't feeling like a joke anymore.
Snow in April is always a bit of an oddity, but living in the Midwest, it's nothing like too out of the ordinary. We're just hoping that the roads are clear by the time we have to drive home.
That drive home was around 5.5 hours long, with a portion taking the students through the open roads of Iowa. Getting home wasn't the only concern, though. Getting to the event itself from surrounding hotels also posed its own risks.
And our Uber came, and our Uber almost got stuck more than once. It was insane, yeah, so wouldn't recommend.
Just down the street at Murphy Hall, the Northern Exposure Visual Journalism Conference faced similar issues.
I had to take a lift and I had to pay a lot of money to get in, but my car was snowed in. And my colleague Lissa got in a little late and she had to have 4 people help dig her out.
While the University of Minnesota campus events went on despite the rain, the hail, and the snow, event organizers can't help thinking attendance would have been better with different weather.
We've definitely had some cancellations. And you can see, actually, these name tags are all people who are no-shows today.
But this isn't to say the event was empty. It is still Minnesota, after all.
I'm really impressed with the number of people who made it here despite the weather. So I guess that's just another vote in favor of hardy Minnesotans for events.
Overall, attending students and professionals enjoyed the events. And by Sunday, things were starting to feel more like spring, with temperatures reaching 50 degrees. And the damage from the storm getting cleared soon after. Marissa Mazzetta, University Report.
Before this storm, it was the 8th snowiest winter on record in the Twin Cities. It is now the 3rd snowiest winter with 89.7 inches of snow. That's about 7.5 feet of snow.
Not only has it been snowy this winter, Sarah, but unpredictable and wet. Madison Morandi is here with a recap of last week's blizzard and what we can expect as temperatures start to warm Madison. Hopefully, there's going to be no more surprises from Mother Nature during the final few weeks of this winter weather.
Connor, I can't agree enough. Let's take a look back at this past weekend's storm. Well, that snowfall changed the record books. However, the snow did not stay for very long. Temperatures on Sunday reached into the low 50s, causing melting of snow and ice that was left behind from Saturday. Now, let's take a look at what's ahead. Today, the high is 51 degrees with some sun, but it's only going to go up from there. On Saturday, we're seeing a high of 62 and 61 and cloudy for Easter Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, we're seeing a high of 67 with Tuesday's temperatures reaching 75 degrees and sunny. I can't wait for that weather. Try to enjoy that, those warm temps coming up.
Yeah, and is that a 75 I see over there, Madison, on Tuesday? That's something that we haven't seen that in a long time, and I'm going to be outside. Don't worry about that. Thanks very much, Madison.
Potholes like these on this city street in Minneapolis are popping across everywhere. I'll tell you what residents have been telling me and how long the city expects to have all these potholes filled up coming up.
And Goldie appears at over 600 events in a year. Coming up, a look into what it takes to be the Gopher.
because it was there. Because determination overcame distance.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
Because the unsolvable was invitation enough. Why are we driven to discover? Because we can change the course of history. Because tomorrow's visionaries need focus today. At the University of Minnesota, with each student comes an opportunity to set their sights higher and to show them the way, so our graduates can shape the future and fulfill the dreams they haven't yet dreamt. Because renewable energy can sustain us all. Our students envision the sun powering homes on every block, wind-blown ideas launching entirely new economies, and fertile soils fueling cars and people alike, protecting the harmony between humanity and nature. Because self-expression can move 1,000 souls. Be it a song or a dance, a canvas or a poem, the arts are vital to the U of M experience, as are self-discovery and moments of sheer amazement. Because cancer can be conquered by targeting medicines, customizing treatments, and transplanting stem cells, incurable cancers can become survivable. Terminal can be redefined as treatable, and optimism can spread once again. Because human rights need champions. From classrooms in Minnesota to courtrooms in Uganda, assembling a collective voice for change allows dignity to return and extends human rights across the globe. Because clean water ensures quality of life. It's essential to the health of all nations, so we're studying models and molecules. We are committed to making clean water flow freely, from the headwaters of the Mississippi to the slums of Mumbai. We share the belief that anything is possible, because at the University of Minnesota, discoveries unfold, breakthroughs happen, and history is forever changed.
Welcome back. Last night, the Gopher men's hockey team beat Boston University 6-2 in Tampa Bay, advancing to the national championship finals. This now becomes the university's 6th time in the national championship. Sorry. Sarah, that was a pretty crazy game, too.
I was glued to my TV the entire time. It sure was a crazy game, Connor. Early on in the game, the Gophers trailed 1-0 during a power play, then scored twice in the first period. Boston tied it up with a goal in the second, but Minnesota had an answer with 4 goals in the final period. Here is what Coach Bob Motzko had to say about the team's performance last night.
All the teams here are pretty good. Everyone's going to put on a push. And you got to weather the storm. And we played a tough schedule this year, so we're battle tested. We've been in this before. And you weathered it, and then we got back on top of it.
The Gophers will play Quinnipiac in Tampa for the national championship at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Potholes are a problem every year, but the winter we just finished might be the worst yet. Streets are pockmarked with craters, and some of them are almost unavoidable. People are frustrated, and they want to know when things will improve. It's pothole season. You know what that means. Lots of squeaks, pops, and missing hardware. There are potholes every year, but this season has been one of the worst, and people living here, like David Okamati, are getting frustrated.
There's just more potholes in the area. It's almost like every few feet you drive, you have to swerve a couple potholes, which gets pretty bad. It messes with your car suspension, so it's pretty hard to drive these days.
Others like Adam Block are also scared these pesky potholes will mess up their car.
I don't know, I feel like if I hit one pothole, I'm scared my whole suspension's gonna go, I'm gonna lose a tire or something.
So let's back it up. How exactly do these potholes pop up so quickly?
This rain falling down right now seeps into these cracks in roads all across Minneapolis, and when it gets colder, it freezes underneath the asphalt and concrete, and then it thaws when it warms up. The more freeze and thaw cycles, the more holes it creates for bigger potholes like these that make driving conditions treacherous for anywhere you go across the city.
Peter Hilger, the faculty director of the construction management program with U of M, says something else contributes to the creation of potholes.
Vehicles driving over the roads, they'll push a lot of frost into the ground, and so there's limited capacity below the surface to absorb water that might ordinarily go through.
And it definitely doesn't help when semi-trucks exert lots of force on these roads, creating the perfect storm for potholes that are so big that road crews have to place barriers to ensure that drivers won't destroy their vehicles. But how much longer will it be until these streets feel smooth to drive on again? Last month, the city of Minneapolis proposed a $1 million plan to add additional crews and offer overtime to its workers to help efficiently fill all of the potholes. And Joe Palman, a Minneapolis Public Works repair director, told me they expect most of the potholes won't be filled until the end of April. So until then, it will be a bumpy ride. You can report any potholes you encounter until they are filled. For those living in Minneapolis, the city wants people to report them via the 311 system. And for those living in greater Minnesota, MnDOT wants people to submit a request online. We have links to both of those on our website at z.umn.edu/universityreport.
This isn't the only Goldie that you'll see on campus, but with hundreds of hidden Goldies throughout campus, you really start to wonder, who's really the man behind the mascot? We'll show you coming up.
Because it was there. Because determination overcame distance.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
Because the unsolvable was invitation enough. Why are we driven to discover? Because we can change the course of history. Because tomorrow's visionaries need focus today. At the University of Minnesota, with each student comes an opportunity to set their sights higher and to show them the way, so our graduates can shape the future and fulfill the dreams they haven't yet dreamt. Because renewable energy can sustain us all. Our students envision the sun powering homes on every block, wind-blown ideas launching entirely new economies, and fertile soils fueling cars and people alike, protecting the harmony between humanity and nature. Because self-expression can move 1,000 souls. Be it a song or a dance, a canvas or a poem, the arts are vital to the U of M experience, as are self-discovery and moments of sheer amazement. Because cancer can be conquered by targeting medicines, customizing treatments, and transplanting stem cells, incurable cancers can become survivable. Terminal can be redefined as treatable, and optimism can spread once again. Because human rights need champions. From classrooms in Minnesota to courtrooms in Uganda, assembling a collective voice for change allows dignity to return and extends human rights across the globe. Because clean water ensures quality of life. It's essential to the health of all nations, so we're studying models and molecules. We are committed to making clean water flow freely, from the headwaters of the Mississippi to the slums of Mumbai. We share the belief that anything is possible, because at the University of Minnesota, discoveries unfold, breakthroughs happen, and history is forever changed.
Goldie the Gopher has been the university's mascot since 1952, and now current students are seeing if they have what it takes to be the next Goldie. Students gathered at the Williams Arena on campus to show their skills in hope of donning the Goldie costume.
Went to the info meeting, immediately fell in love with the coach. He seems like a really nice guy, and I just got to see all the cool things that you got to do alongside it, and something inside me was I think this would be great to expand my horizons and be a part of something that's bigger than myself almost, because I don't know, I just think that's something amazing, even if you're not getting any of that recognition.
The coaches were looking for creativity, innovation, and teamwork as they looked for the next Goldie.
Not only do you have to be creative and thinking on your feet, but you have to be big, large, and make the movements exaggerated so that everybody can tell what you're doing. I had a creative answer with each prop. You'd get kicked out if you were doing the prop, if you repeated something or whatnot, but I feel like I have very creative answers.
Energy is the name of the game when Goldie is tasked with doing a push-up for every point scored during a home football game.
I did know that I wanted to do this, so I started doing my push-ups every day, but I already had a pretty high push-up max. So my push-up maximum right now is about 45.
I can do 60. Put me up at 80.
PJ was impressed because he kept looking over at whatever game that was, and he's we were putting him through the ringer. I thought that was pretty funny. So
push-ups aren't the only thing a Goldie has to be skilled at. Getting the crowds energized for any sport is the main part of being the mascot.
If I'm Goldie, he will be skiing on the slopes and cross country, for sure.
Goldie's spitting head is seen everywhere, so it's no surprise when students show their admiration towards the Gopher.
I love Goldie. Goldie's awesome.
Oh, he's the big man on campus for sure. Yeah, no, he definitely pulls for sure.
If you've been following along closely, there's no way that only one Goldie is able to make it to 600 events in 1 year without any friends. So some of these students were actually trying to see if they could be on Goldie's team of friends. How many friends of Goldie are there? That's one secret that the coaches wouldn't reveal to us. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, I'm Sarah Morris.
I'm Connor O'Neill. We'll see you next week.